Okay, now that we're out in the garage, we're going to put a coat of polycrylic on it. This is the Minwax polycrylic, and a couple things we're going to point out in the directions. First is it says stir, do not shake. It also says to apply a thin coat with a synthetic bristle brush. They do have these. You can get these at Walmart or Lowe's or pretty much any place where you're going to buy your polycrylic. Next thing it says is let dry at least 2 hours and then sand it with 220 grit paper. So the first thing I'm going to do today, I'm going to open this up. This is a fresh can. You're going to notice that when you look at what it looks like, it's going to look kind of a milky white. Something like so. A milky white substance. And when you put it on, it's going to dry very fine though. So I have a stirrer here. And take out a regular stir, give it a little gentle stir here. Okay, we'll sit with that now. Okay, now I'm going to take my polycrylic brush. When you brush, you're going to want to brush with the grain of the board. So for this, I'm going to go back and forth, and I'm going to work in small areas at a time. So this is one coat of the polycrylic. You notice it's a lot thinner than paint. But you're also going to notice that as I'm putting this down on top of the board, it's going on very clear. It smells terrible too. But the reason you're going to want to put sand, or you're going to want to run sandpaper over it, is because when you put this on, it's not going to be completely flat. What the sandpaper does is it's going to take out any brush strokes that might be seen, giving that smooth, flat finish. So I'm going to continue putting this on. What I always like to do is, after I've done this small section here, I'm going to go all the way back and forth just to make sure that it will appear as one even brush stroke. I'm going all the way off the board, and so there's our section, and I'm just going to take these long brush strokes to try and make this as uniform as I possibly can. What this stuff will do too is it's going to make sure that that decal does not come off. I know that on this sticker it's read on the back that it's not going to be able to be removed after firmly pressed in the time frame of 3 months, but we're going to make sure that after this stuff dries, this baby's never coming off. Right now I'm working at about, let's see, it'd probably be about 6-inch squares. That way I can make sure it gets down and it won't be too wet. It's not going to be too dry. Come all the way across. So right now I've done about a foot and about a third of the way done here. And as I mentioned, this is it's polycrylic. It's a protective finish. You can get it in the paint section of a department store that is in your area. So I've done the first third of the board, and I'll continue working my way up. I should mention also, and I'd said this before, but the polycrylic is about $13 for this quart. The brush was about $6. Now I have lots of different kinds of brushes. I have brushes that are used to paint the boards. I have brushes that are used to detail the boards. With this one, I'm going to tell you that it's much softer. And what that's going to allow you to do is get this polycrylic down very easily, very smoothly. Even as I'm looking with the light right now, I can tell that it's a pretty fine finish. As I mentioned, this is sanded plywood. And even though I have sanded it quite a bit at home too, it's not going to be completely flush, just because, you know, that's how wood grows. So when I look at the plane of the board, I can barely even tell that I put on a coat of polycrylic. Now again, this is the first coat. I know some people do put on more than one coat. I'm going to basically see how it looks after I get this first coat down. Might need another one, might not. We're going to get this down. And kind of looking at in the reflection of the light to see if there's any spot that has too much polycrylic on it right now as well. I think 1 quart of this will cover, I think it was about 300 square feet. These boards are 6 square feet. These are 3 by 2. So if you wanted to make another set or an additional set, I figured you'd be able to get anywhere between maybe 10 and 12 boards, sets layered with this polycrylic. Now, of course, if you're going to double coat, you're going to cut that number in half. You can already see that's starting to dry down at the bottom, which is great, but I'm going to make sure I give it the full 2 hours to completely dry. Kind of working my way back, making sure they get the most even coat that I possibly can. Okay, I have about a third left here. Some other things I do want to mention, this yellow paint, this is Valspar. It's exterior paint, and it's exterior/interior paint, and it goes on pretty nicely. The black, I believe, is just a straight exterior, and they're both semi-gloss. Now these boards have been painted a couple weeks ago, and what the delay in me getting down the polycrylic, what that's going to allow all the paint to do is it's going to allow it to cure. All the moisture is going to be able to get out, so that you don't have to worry about any bubbling or any slight warping of the board. You're going to have a nice finish on top of these boards. So also notice that I'm trying not to make a mess, so I'm trying to kind of wring out all the extra before I get on the board. I don't want too much on here too. So this is looking pretty nice finish. The last corner right here, just get that down. And we'll come all the way across. And we're ready to let this stuff dry. So again, this has about a 2-hour wait limit. As I look across, I'm seeing that it's already starting to look a little bit drier here. Now obviously it's not completely dry, but it does look drier down at this bottom part since I did that first. So it cleans up pretty easily. It's water based, so it does clean out with water, and it's a great way to protect any of your the tops of your cornhole boxes. So definitely a good consideration. I know that I've had boards in the past where some of the paint's scraped, and this polycrylic really protects that the paint, so it gives it a nice finish overall. So there you have it. That's how to put on a coat of polycrylic.